Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Suleiman Raheem here. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, we're in the last days of Yaqub's civilization. His time is up. Everything they do will fail. That's what it means when your time is up. Things backfire. All your good luck is exhausted. Nations don't die like people die. Because a nation can die and the people can still survive. Like when the Roman Empire died. You have to understand that. It's like the Islamic Empire died. So what happens is the nation itself fails, dies, and the people suffer the consequence of that failure because the nation fails. And then the people suffer the consequence of that. So for instance, you have a nation collapses. So the people go into slavery, the nation died. The people have lost their self-will, their self-control. It's like when a person dies, right? The life goes out the body, but the body is still there. That's the way it works. So we have to understand that. So this nation, and another example of that is when you die, you have no more power. So if you try to exercise power, it will backfire. That's another death. So everything you do backfires. So you do nothing, nothing happens. You lay there motionless. If you try to act, it backfires. That's the way nations die. So you know they're dead because they cannot affect cannot affect anyone around them in a positive way from their perspective. They have no power anymore. Everything they do fails. That's what it means they die. Because the nation is about power. When its power dies, it has no more power. That means if it tries to exercise power, it backfires. It turns negative. And that's the state America's in now. Everything it does will backfire. It's backfiring. They're preparing to go to war. It's going to backfire. This election is backfiring. America's under intense pressure. All its systems are being stress tested. Its political system, its religious system, its economic system, its social system, its medical system, its political system, educational system, law enforcement system. It's all being tested. Don't you see that? It's all being tested. You ever seen anything like this before? Every aspect of America is being tested, stress tested, and it's failing. So at what point does the collapse come? Okay. It's failing. They try to recover from this virus, and now it's worse than ever. The political situation is worse than ever. Educational system is worse than ever. Everything is worse than ever. Now they're saying that their military is being overcome by the virus. They're being tested all around the world. All the nations are pressurizing America. It's not America pressurizing them. It's America responding to the pressure that they're putting upon America. You have to put things in a proper perspective, brothers and sisters. America is being stress tested and is failing. They haven't seen any good news all year. None. Everything is backfiring. It's getting worse all the time. Anything that started at the beginning of the year, everything has gotten worse. There's not been any improvement in anything. Nothing. And now their official end date is the 13th November 2020. Their power ended that day. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about several things here. We're going to bring them all together and try to understand what's going on. As I promised, as we get closer and closer to our deliverance, I'll be more and more specific, more and more clear. We need to understand some of these things I couldn't talk about before because you didn't have a background, a basis to understand what I was talking about. To understand what this war is all about. Because actually, the world is at war. That's another trick, because America gets to define what war is. So they say, oh, no, America is at war. America's not at peace. They're under a biological attack right now. This biological attack didn't come out of some mystery God. They come from mystery gods behind anything. Everything we understand, if you understand anything Elijah Muhammad taught you, if you follow Elijah Muhammad, you should know that nothing happens by itself. And there's no mystery God involved in it. If this plague was prepared by someone for a specific purpose, the original plague was aimed at us, the original people, and also the blacks in Africa. That's what it was aimed at, but it backfired. So Africa's virtually untouched. There's countries in Africa that has never even had one case, yet it's raging all around the world. Yet here they're telling us, black folks are dying like flies over here, disproportionately, which is a lie. Oh, some black, well, again, you have to define what black is. And we're going to talk about that in more detail. But they can define what war is. If anyone was putting sanctions on America as America is putting on other countries, America would call that war. See, an act of war. They would be at war with them, be dropping atomic bombs on them. America's at war now. At war all around the world. There's a world war waging right now. And it's soon to go kinetic. What kinetic means, that's force. You know, like bullets and missiles flying. But the world is at war now. Economic war, biological war, propaganda war. The world is at war now. Just hasn't reached the boiling point. You're going to tell me that a pot full of water that is at 211 degrees, which is 1 degree short of boiling. It's not hot, it won't burn you. Ask the nations that's under sanctions. They consider themselves at war. America's at war. Whole world is at war. It just hasn't the kinetic war. So America gets to define what war is. But it's going to come, but pretty soon it's going to be evident. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's go into presentation. And some of the things we talked about will require you to have a basic understanding of what I've been talking about in the past. I can't keep going back all the way back to A all the time. We're way past A. So I've been building up. Like I said, if you teaching mathematics, right, you can't keep going back to addition, subtraction. Once you get to algebra, if they haven't caught up with math, multiplication and division and negative numbers, then what can you do? You can't go back and start over again. So if they haven't paid attention, that's on them. Those that miss class, that's on them. They have to catch up. The information's out there. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move into the presentation. Brothers and sisters, you might not have understood this before. I've been trying to bring it home to you lately. So I'm going to try to make it clear. This is a war. The bottom line of this war is war between Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub. There's another player there. There's another player we're going to talk about in a minute that you're not aware of. And it's not been defined. And some people call it the jinn. So there's a war between Dr. Shabazz, Dr. Yaqub, and the jinn. Or Iblis. See, they call Iblis Satan. Iblis is not Satan. That's that Sunni misunderstanding. See, there's a three-way war here. See? Between, because you had three players there. You had what? You had the angels. You had Adam, who's making mischief and shed blood. And you had Iblis. There's three players. And we're going to define these players. But we're going to concentrate on the two main players right now, Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub. Division. On the right, you see the division of Dr. Shabazz. See? Spatial, and as best we could be. Best physical, mental being we could be. Spatial. But on the left, you see Dr. Yaqub's vision. See? Analytical. See? His vision is mechanical. That's analytical mind. Our vision is biological. To be the perfect biological being. That's what Dr. Shabazz was trying to achieve. The perfect biological being. As the Quran says, perfection after perfection, in which we constantly perfect ourselves until we come down to this period of time where we have achieved perfect biological perfection. Perfect biological being. That's the spatial side. But Dr. Yaqub, right, he's trying to create the perfect analytical being. which is mechanical. It's not biological, it's mechanical. So what you see on the left there, that's his vision. On the right is our vision. Let's look at this. Let's move into this. We get into this. We talk about the 5 pillars of Islam. Right? Consequences is top 1. That's faith, justice. All the others are built upon that. And then you got the other 4. Hajj is harmony. It's harmony. Harmonic motion. Torque, spinning motion. Right? Then you got zakat. That's currents. Then you got mass, the ratio between mass and acceleration, which is force, fasting. So we're not here to talk about that right now, but it's there. I've put videos about it, presentations. Any questions, I will address them. Now, what does this say here? This is the Quran. Now, for years, Mr. Farrakhan and his whatever demons been telling us every nation has a term. When this term comes, it cannot remain behind, least while nor can they precede it. And before they could finish saying that, but America will get an extension. And if they bow down to Farrakhan, they will get an extension. Their time will be expanded. And they can't have it both ways. See, they have no idea what they're talking about. Every nation has a term. When its term comes, it's not like something predestined has a term, because it's like, if you put an egg in boiling water, right, then you can clock and tell how long before that egg is going to boil. It has a term. It can't go beyond that. It can't go less unless you change, right, take the power of the stove. Which, you can't do that. The universe continues to move. See? So it's not determinative, like we have no control of that situation, right? But we are locked into the math of it. And we locked into the math to the point that we can say 5 plus 5 is 10, 2 plus 8 is 10, 3 plus 7 is 10, but it still has to be 10. So we have the ability, that's to create, because that's taking, creating something from nothing. That's what it is. In other words, you taking, and it's just a 10, but you can make it 5 plus 5, or you can make it 2 plus 8. That's the creative process. You took and made something. That's how, your construction, right, depends on you. So you took something just a 10, had no form. So it had no form. It was just 10, and you gave it form. So they said, well, I'm going to make it a 2 plus 8. I'm going to make it a 1 plus 9. That's the creative process. You don't change the 10. You can't change the universe, but you can take, and it has no form. You give it form. That's what it means, making something out of nothing. You're giving it form. That don't mean you're taking literally nothing, because how can you make something out of something that doesn't exist? I mean, if you have to have something to work with. So people think, oh, well, there was no universe, there was nothing, and then how can we bring something into existence, the whole universe existence? If it didn't exist, we didn't exist. So what was the force? It had to be a force to make it come into existence, right? But you said there's nothing at all. So that makes no sense at all. See? So we gave universe form. See? So time moves on, and you say as the pressure increases, a certain nation has a certain threshold of pressure. Once that pressure exceeds, it can no longer exist. That's what it means. So that's what it's telling you. So now you tell, oh, well, if America bows to Farrakhan, in this time, everything, this tells you very clear, every nation has a term. So as term comes, they cannot remain behind the least while, nor can they precede it. They can't go before the term, and they can't go beyond it. When their term comes, that's it. Their term was 13 November 2020. They can't go beyond it. Nothing will be, nothing of positive, they will have no success in anything from this point on. America is a dead nation. It's dead right now. Anything they do will backfire. Everything. Hope you understand that. So there's not going to be any extension. See, Elijah Muhammad made that mistake when he thought, because he got the time confused. He said he was teaching back in the 70s that the war of Armageddon would be in the 1970s. He based that on an idea that the Seventh-day Adventists had, the Jehovah's Witnesses had, and other people had, that 1914 civil end of the civilization. And they would not use the verses in the scripture, as Jesus said. He made a statement to the effect that this generation will not pass away, right, before Jesus returned, something to that effect. And they calculated a generation as 60 years. So they added 60 years to 1914. They came with 1974, and everybody, including Elijah Muhammad, thought that would be the end. They was teaching that. Now these scriptures won't tell you that. See? But it's a fact. I know, because I heard a minister say it. My father took me to Temple 25, I believe it was 1962. It was either 1961, 1962. In that time frame, just before he passed away in 1963. And we lived a block away from the temple, but I had no idea what it was. He took me in there. I found out later he was processing before he passed. And I remember he took me in there one time. And I remember distinctly that the minister was saying in Temple 25 in Newark, New Jersey, that the war of Armageddon would take place in 1970, the 1970s. Anyone that was around in that time, right, that was conscious, knows Jehovah's Witness was like, they was like big time in the 70s and during the 60s, because people thought they predicted 1914 correct. And so when they came with this second prediction, everybody thought they was correct, and everybody wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. If they wasn't in the Nation of Islam, they wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. And then when 1970s came and passed, it started fading. And now Jehovah's Witnesses are what they are today. They're not anything as big as they were back in the 60s and 70s. Okay, brothers and sisters. After I make that point, every nation has a term. So a term comes, they cannot remain behind, at least while nor can they precede it. There's no extension for America. America's through. They're through. As chapter 18 tell you, right? All their plagues and everything will come in one day, meaning 1 year. And we're already into this plague. It is 13 November 2020. I showed how I calculated that. I'm not going to show it here. Those of you who are paying attention know how I calculated that. It comes from the angel. The brain. We need to understand our brain, brothers and sisters. And I intend to, time willing, to go through the creation from A to Z. Not in one presentation, right? And different phases. Starting with self-creation all the way up to now. Anyway, the brain. The brain has two sides, the spatial and analytical. And that's what this war is all about. It's a war between the spatial and analytical. That war has been going on since the beginning of time. Only thing is, the analytical was always kept in check. It's always been rebellion against the spatial. It's always tried to, assert itself. We see it assert itself many times in history. We'll talk about that later. But it became isolated, personified with Dr. Yaqub. See, now as a quasi-independent creature, and it's deadly. It's deadly. The brain, the right side and the left side. The right side is creative, emotional, intuitive, imagination. See, but the left side is practical. See, logical, realistic, objective, analytical, practical. See. But the right side needs the left side because the right side is say be, but it needs something to put that be, make that be is. It needs a technical side to bring its ideas right into existence. Because without that, it's just imagination. But it needs a technical side to bring their ideas right into existence. But the technical side, without it needs the right side to fuel it. Because otherwise, it's just someone sitting on the street waiting for instructions. It's like an engineer waiting for instructions, a blueprint to do something. Without that, I got all the equipment, tools, but I don't know what to do. See, because it needs the right side to give it instructions. The right side is the dominant side. It's the controlling side. See, so the left side is dependent upon the right side, but it's rebellious by itself. See, because it has nothing to restrain it other than the right. Without the right side, it's nothing to restrain it. It's just wow. It has no direction. See, because it gets that from the right side. The status quo. That's what jinn are the status quo. They resist change. But the universe is always changing. And they're the ones that resist change. And we're going to talk about them in more detail as we get to the creation series that I intend to start very soon. I've been working on it. I'll start releasing information soon, if time willing. So that's what Iblis was all about. He resisted change. I'm not changing. I'm not going along with that. He resists change. He likes things like they are. The jinn are the status quo. Anyone that's resisting change, they are of the jinn. That's what jinn are. Those who resist change. But change is always happening. The universe is constantly changing. See? But as it changes, the power moves from one place, from one thing to another, from one people to another, whatever. Power moves as time moves. So when you have it, right? Just like, for instance, you're a parent. Now you got the power. See? But now your children, you're passing, and the power starts shifting to your children. But you want to hold on to that power. But you can't, because time has changed. You're getting older, time is changing, and now it's time for your children. So what do? You want to hold on to your power. That's status quo. You want to hold on to the power because time is changing, so now the power is passing on to them. So you can resist it, so you become the jinn. But you're going to lose, because time will not stay still. See, that's these scriptees. They're jinn also. These scriptees hold on. I mean, ain't nobody after Elijah. Measure the black and all that stuff. It has no significance right now. They can't go back and tell you about COVID-19. It wasn't in there. They can't tell about these things happening right now. They can't tell about this upcoming war with any detail. They have no idea what's about to happen. See, they don't want to accept the Injil. Injil is the book now. Wait till about the Quran. The Quran time has passed. It had a 1,000-year run. See, it didn't address. They said, oh, they know so much about the Quran. They wasn't prepared. They ran into the COVID-19 brick wall too. See, they're the jinn also, because time has moved on, and the world has moved on, and they still back 1,400 years. They're still 1,400 years in the back. 1,400 years in the past. And you got the scriptees, how many years back in the past are they? 42 years in the past? They're trying to bring back Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam. The Sunnis trying to bring back Prophet Muhammad's empire. Time has changed. They're the jinn. It's that they're trying to hold on. And it's harder and harder, because time is changing and they're becoming more and more irrelevant. That's what happens. Like the Quran says, their struggle is ever weak. It means you're weaker and weaker daily. So the best thing is just ignore them. unless they come after you. You understand? Because time pushes them in the past. Who has to fear anything that's in the past? Anything that's in the past, you have to fear anything that's in the past. Okay. The jinn again. Now, I've never talked about that. I talked about it before, but in the context of what's going on now. There's a war between the analytical and the spatial. There's also a war of the jinn. See, analytical and the spatial, right? That was the new reality. It says, let's make man. I mean, no, let's we're gonna make, make an advocate, new rule in the earth. That's analytical. In other words, things going to change it. Angels supposed to submit to him. See? So you're talking about the spatial analytical there. But jinn said no. Who's jinn? They represent the old thing. See, they represent. See, when Dr. Yaqub, see, he took and isolated the analytical mind, right? And Dr. Shabazz isolated the spatial mind. What about those that did not go through that process? The old group, see, they resisted. They like it was. See, they ambidextrous. See, they both sides of their brain, spatial and analytical, they balance. And they see things that way, and they like it that way. To them, that's balance. You see, that's the old way. That way is gone. This is the new reality. We're coming to a new reality. New reality is the isolation of the analytical and the spatial. That's the new reality. That's the form of the creation now. Dr. Shabazz started, Dr. Yaqub finished it. He took the final stage. And those resisted, that's old, that's past. See? So you have those who are the Sunnis, they're part of that. See, their religion, not the Sunnis themselves, but the religion they have been taken over by the jinn. They're resisting. You see? So you have a lot of Africa. So what Elijah Muhammad told you what we liked before Dr. Shabazz took us into that process. What you see before you is a Somali youth, right? He's an African, but that's what we look mostly more like, right? With that hair and everything before Dr. Shabazz took us. I mean, it's darker and our features more pronounced and our hair woolly, nappy. But we look more like what you see there before he took us to that process. So you look at Somalis and Ethiopians. They're mostly before that process. There are the jinn also. Now on the right here, I show you a little, what I'm showing you is every nation. The top two wings, I said, always the Islamic part. Because they mixed, it says they were mixed by the seed of men. They mixed. So in other words, they mostly spatial. On the bottom, mostly analytical. But in the middle there, that's the balance. In between, they have the ambidextrous. That's the old type. That's the old group. See, we were separated, the old group, and then the spatial was separated from them. That's the top, and analytical was taken from them. That's the bottom. And then, but you still got what was before that. That's in the center, in the middle there. I told you all these things right before your faces, brothers and sisters. See, that's what you see there. See. So they are the jinn. See, it said Iblis was other jinn. So who are all the jinn? They're resisting. See. So we have three groups of enemies. But we have two groups of enemies. We have the analytical and the ambidextrous for lack of a better word, right? That's balance between analytical and spatial. That's the old version of us. Now we're a new version. That gets back to when we talk about how the woman came, male and female came to existence. Before that, the Quran tells you there was one being. And from all that being, all came. So that being was genderless. And then came a male and female. See? So what happened to the original one? They're not here anymore. So that's another one. We have to work with that. So now we're the spatial, and we're at war with the analytical. We're also at war with the jinn. That's this is Somalian. This is Ethiopian. Not saying all of them, but most of them didn't go through that process. Not just them, other ones too. You see, they didn't go through the process we went through. So they see, they're original. They're original. Can't say they're not original. They got basic gene makeup. Only we the new creation. See, we're the new, and they're the old. See, we made ourselves more powerful because now the spatial mind is more brilliant, more creative than ever. Because the whole brain is used. The whole brain is used for creativity. Before, only half the brain was used for creativity, but now the entire brain is used. Almost the entire brain used for creativity. While on the other hand, analytical, almost the entire brain is used for technical, where it used to be half of it was used for technical. So now the spatial is brighter than ever, and analytical is brighter than ever. But there's a problem with that because the analytical is even more rebellious than ever. Because it's always been rebellious now, since he has no spatial activity going on, he's totally rebellious. The cyborg evolution. Let's let me just talk with you a few minutes about this. The analytical mind is mechanical. Spatial mind is biological. Okay. But we do have some technical abilities. I mean, before the split, right? We have both sides. See? And so we did make machines, but we needed them. We needed machines to get out there. But primarily, creation is almost all biological. You look around, you have ants, they do a certain thing, flies do a certain thing, bees do a certain thing, trees do a certain thing. They're all biological. That's the way we create. But now you see caveys, they're going to mechanical things. See? He's creating a mechanical world. See? That's offensive to the biological world. That's why he has all this trouble from global warming and everything, because he's adverse to the biological world that we brought into existence. But he's trying to bring, because he sees analytically. So he's trying to bring the analytical world into existence. He brings the machines to do everything he needs to get done. He comes up with a machine to do it for him. See? They're trying to get machines to do everything. You look around you, everything, the jobs and everything has been replaced by machines. That's the cyborg evolution. So now he's making mechanical parts for the human body. He's trying to make a mechanical heart, mechanical ears. I mean, they do have them now, but I mean, they're getting better and better at them. Mechanical legs, mechanical arms, brain implants. And all this has been in the last few years. In my lifetime, I mean, when I was a child, they didn't have TV. Now look at all the things they have now. And it's just starting. So they start out basic, and look how complicated they've gotten now. And they're just really getting started. See? So eventually, they'll replace your entire body with mechanical parts, which will make you more powerful and more enduring than you will with your biological. Plus, you'll be immune to all the biological issues that you're subjected to now. So I mean by cyborg evolution, because they evolving in their mind mechanically. That's the mechanical evolution. The end result of that is about a cyborg being. A cyborg is not a robot. A cyborg is a brain that has a mechanical body. Let's see. Hope you understand that. So we're going to go a little further into this. That's their vision. They're moving towards it. Religiously, politically, socially, in every respect. This is what they intend for the future. A future that you have no part in. But they need you to get there. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They need you to get there. Once they get there, they don't need you anymore. See? So you have these Sunnis and all these, because see, the point is that like right now, if you're poor, you can afford an iPhone. You may not afford a car. You might afford a computer. All these electronic things, because everything's electronic now. Flat screen TV. So you're still back 30, 40 years. Depends on how much money you have. See? Right now, I mean, they have heart transplants and liver transplants. I mean, look at these things they're doing. See? So, if you can't afford it, you can upgrade. Think about that. If you can't afford it, you cannot upgrade. You can upgrade to an iPhone. You can upgrade to a computer. You can upgrade to a car. Or maybe you have those things, you can upgrade to the latest versions. Because they got very powerful iPhones and Androids. Very powerful computers. They have Hummers and Lamborghinis. Can you afford one of those? So can you upgrade? So when they come along with this mechanical body, are you going to be able to upgrade to it? Because if you can't, because see, those people that have upgraded to the Lamborghinis and the Hummers and fast computer and all that kind of things, they're doing much better than you because they have more power to information, because that's what it's all about, information, isn't it? So that makes them more powerful and more able to be more successful, right? Because they have more power, access to information, and more control of it. You don't even have a flat screen, you have an iPhone. You know, you got a raggedy car, maybe you're driving a bicycle. So where you going with that? This person out there, they got iPhone, computer, you know, a fancy car with all this electronics. They're moving, and they're doing. And so, hey, that success leads to great success in an analytical mind. See? So when the latest version comes out, they can afford to upgrade. Can you upgrade? You understand where I'm going with this? So when they finally get to that point where they can produce that body right there that can live virtually as long as they want to live, because the part goes bad, just replace it. Are you going to be able to upgrade? Because if you can't, then where is that going to leave you? You got these gods walking around with all this power, and you around here a biological being that they don't need anymore. What will happen to you? What's have no Sunnis over there when they blowing themselves up and everything and trying to go to war with these type of beings? Do you understand, brothers and sisters? That's their vision. That's the war. Let me bring it home for you. Why is America the most innovative, most creative, right, most technical country on the planet? Because they got Dr. Yaqub here and Dr. Baz here. And they battling out right here. See? They didn't bring us over here. People had some idea what they was doing. Because remember, they're the technical mind. But technical mind is like a car without gas. They need a creative mind to fuel it. So when they brought us over here, that fueled their technological explosion. Without us, it would never happen. If they so great, how come you don't have that in Russia, all Caucasian Russia, right? How about you, all these other countries, in Norwegian, I mean, if they're the best, then bam, they have us around, they should be, wow. I mean, it's all them, but no. By them bringing us over here, we fuel because we're creative. That's why they need us here. And they steal from us. And they had to have this another enemy we have that you don't appreciate. I'm trying to bring it home for you, brothers and sisters. See? Because they're analytical, they're technical. So now you got Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub battling out here in America. But Dr. Yaqub is not going to submit to Dr. Shabazz. Remember, the analytical will not submit to the spatial. So they're oppressing us. But they need us, our creativity, that they take and bring into existence. That's why they're so creative and so innovative and so technical, more than any country on the planet. But they need a bridge to keep us under control and also to suck out that creativity. What is that? That's the demons, their children, their black-faced children that look like us, talk like they walk around us, and they got enough spatial to translate our creativity so that technical people can know what to do with it, how to work with it. That's their purpose. See, they're not with you. They're with them. But they come amongst us and we think, and oh man, hey bro, hey, he ain't my bro. I don't care if he's black as tar. If his dad's a devil, he ain't my bro. Farrakhan, you ain't my bro. That's their purpose, is to make that bridge, because you have to have a bridge between the technical and the analytical. See, to get the information across, because the technical don't understand the spatial, doesn't understand the creative. It needs somebody translate it. You understand? It's like you have say for instance, you cover an idea. You have the technical, just tell them you have to give a blueprint. You have to give a blueprint for him to work with. He needs a blueprint. See? But you creative. See? So you need someone to explain it to, and that person put it into a blueprint so technical can work with it. So you need somebody to make that bridge between the two, otherwise the two can't talk to each other. You need that bridge so to connect the two together, to get that communication going. And that's where demons come in. That's slave masters' children. They keep us under control, but also can translate that creative power, because they have some spatial, because that's how they came into being, by raping black women. So they got some spatial, they got enough to make that connection, because they got a little bit of both. So that means they can make that connection between our creativity and make it so that the technical can understand it and bring it into existence. See, so they steal from us. They steal our creativity from us. But that's why it needs to get to where they're trying to get, because they could not get to where they're trying to get to, that cyborg, without our creativity. They need us to get there. Once they get there, they don't need us anymore, because that's their vision. Once they get there, they don't need us anymore. See? But they need our creativity to get there. And they need the demons to make the bridge between us and them, right? To get there. That's what the demon's purpose is. Listen to Farrakhan's words. We want to stay here with Massa. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to try to save them. We can't call them devils anymore. You see? Because he's one of them. And that's why it's, because what happened is Elijah Muhammad came and exposed that. He exposed, like I'm exposed it, but he exposed that they're the enemy. See? And then you start seeing black folks start to look more like that person on the right. Therefore, why? See? Mentally, economically, maybe even physically in some cases. And that scared them because that's our vision. That's not their vision. Both those two visions can't survive. One or the other. Either biological or the mechanical. So they had to snuff it out. And if you listen to what Farrakhan's saying, that FBI report, that's what they said. He's doing exactly. I said, when they spoke on that, I said, these people retarded? Because if you listen to his fool Ishmael talking, he's saying what the FBI wanted, and they're doing exactly what the FBI says. We got to figure out a way to get them to make this just a religious organization. Isn't that what Farrakhan has done? He's made his religious organization. It's not in economics like Elijah Muhammad was. It's not even political. It's just a religious organization. He wants you to go to Sunni mosques and pray and all that kind of stuff, but they're your enemies also. See, I'm trying to bring it home. You got what you have in America is you have Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub slugging it out. That's what you have. See, which one will win? Well, I said, which one will survive the war of Armageddon? The biological or the mechanical? Look around. They built a mechanical world here. This world didn't exist before they brought us over here. Now all of a sudden they got this mechanical world they brought into existence. And the left is what they're evolving to. And when they get there, the right, they don't need you, you won't exist anymore. They get rid of you. But they need you to get to there. And that's what the demons are. That's their purpose. See? And Farrakhan, his whole idea is to make sure that you get away from the idea on the right. We ain't going nowhere. Stay here with them. Why would they think about it? Every time you talk about separation, oh, why y'all talking separation? Why do they care? Why would they want us to leave? They don't like us. They hate us. They do everything against us. They injustice and everything else. So why would they want us to leave? Oh, because they need us. And we're going to talk about that in a minute in more detail. Because they need our creativity. They need our creativity to get there. Because without us, they're like a car without fuel. We fuel, you understand? We the fuel, we create the fuel to get them to get where they are. Get to receive, get to their dream, to their vision. That's what it needs for. But it needs under control and take all and rob us of all our creativity to get there and then get rid of us. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. That's what this America is all about. Slug out between Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub. And Dr. Yaqub, right? Sucking our creativity. See? Stealing it from us, robbing us of it. Because you can't get anywhere without it. We're the fuel. We the ones that fuel them. You see? The technical mind without the spatial mind is like a car without fuel. Okay, let's move on. Now you see the blinking there? See? The blinking, those on the top ones, those are spatial. Ones on the bottom, right? Those are analytical. The ones in the middle, that's ambidextrous, the old creation. That's the jinn. See? So we at war. This war of Armageddon is a war, right? Between the analytical and the spatial, and also against the jinn. Now, jinn is against both of us. The jinn is against, because they don't want to change at all. They don't want to see a mechanical world come in. They don't want this spatial, because we're going to bring a new spatial world. See, the creation you see right now came out when we were ambidextrous, so to speak. See, the creation you see right now is the old, based on the old mind. But now we moved on and we have a new mind. Make all things new. So now we're going to be even more creative than we were in the first. And more technical we were than in the expansion of the universe. The first God, right? He was ambidextrous, analytical and spatial. But the spatial kept the analytical under control. Right? So you see everything you see out there, right? He created a spatial universe because it's spatial mind dominated. So now that we've made the separation and now the universe is contracting, we're going to make all things new. We're going to redo the universe again, but we're going to make it, right, even more spatial than it is now, right? But we're also going to make it more technical than it is now. See? But technical is going to be under control, still under control of the spatial, but it's going to be greater than it was in the beginning. Because the Bible tells you about two periods. It talks about the restoration, the original creation, and then the restoration. Now we're in the restoration period. The prey. Now read this carefully. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? See, who's the mighty? That's the analytical. That's here in America. We're the prey. See, why we got to be taken from them? Because they brought us over here because they need us. They need our creative power. Otherwise, they're like a car without gas, without fuel. We need our creative power to fuel the technical ability. Because what's good is technical ability? We have nothing to work with, no blueprints, anything. See, so we have to be taken from them. So before I go, let me back up because I'm making sure everybody understands here. There's no confusion, because I can see where there might be some confusion here. What Dr. Yakub isolated, we cannot control it. It's too rebellious. That's why I said in the lessons, no risk, you have to get rid of it. The point in grafting it back in is just too much trouble. But what happened is that we've taken and we took some of the technical, the analytical, right? Put our seed in them. So therefore, what we would have is beings, right, who were spatial, loyal to us because they spatial, but they'd be very technical. Still very technical. Not as technical as Yakub's creation. See? Because they're totally technical. Almost 99% technical. So we have a being that's maybe 80% technical, 20% spatial, enough to keep that technical under control. That's where Farah comes in, because he's original, but he's got an analytical body. But he has enough spatial, because his father was spatial, right, to control it. So he's this, because we can't control, we have to get rid of the technical side, because if they had to submit to us, work with us, that would have been the perfect result. But they're rebellious by nature, not going to submit. So we've been fighting out here for 40 years in America. They still won't. See. So that's what we did. So now we have the Shia, right? Farad, right? And others, right? Who have that analytical body, right? But they're our seed. So they have enough spatial to keep it under control. But it's mostly like their bodies, since they had it, that analytical body, then maybe 80%, right? Thinking of technical and 20% spatial, but there's enough spatial there to keep the technical under control. Because we went 100% or 90% technical, they're not going to submit. You see what happened. We've been 40 years. They won't. Because rebellious by nature. That's what we've done. But we understand that. See? But the jinn is against all of that. Ain't change at all. They're against analytical, spatial, right? They're against the demons, who are hybrid. They're just the opposite, right? They're the spatial, but the seed, they're seed of analytical with spatial bodies. Whereas fraud is the seed of the spatial with analytical bodies. You see, so we want them. We don't want the demons. Okay, hope you understand that. Okay, vengeance. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the captive delivered? See, because you say, well, why we want separation? Why I want separation? You see, because they're not going to tell you the truth, brothers, sisters. These people know the truth. They're not going to tell you. They do everything, because that's what the purpose of demons is, to keep you confused, keep you disorientated, while they suck out your captivity, while they suck out your creative ability, when they steal it from you and use it against you. See, the demons are to make sure you keep that analytical mind uploaded on your brain. That what does Farrakhan tell you? Man, you need to think analytical. See, that's what he tells you. Anybody's been listening to him, you think analytical. Yeah, think like this. You know, you're massive. See, no, we spatial. But thus said the Lord, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away. That means we're gone. Pharaoh's going to take us away out of here. And the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. See, we're going to be delivered. Who's the terrible? That's America. Hey, man, we powerful on anybody. They're identical, because America is the most powerful country on the planet, right? Creativity, right? Innovation, right? And technical power, because you got Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yakub right here together. For I will contend with him that contend with thee. I will save thy children. See, you're going to be delivered, brothers and sisters. That's for Rod's promise, his word. And I'm here to back that word. See? That's what I'm telling you. I'm the messenger of the covenant. That's what's said. Read Malachi. That's why I talk about the covenant. He's here to tell you to fulfill the covenant. He's here to enforce the covenant. It's Joshua's job to fulfill the covenant. Right? It's Rod's job to enforce the covenant. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. I'm telling you, what's going to happen to America, you understand, is beyond imagine. It says, the Quran says, I will punish them. You will punish them. Chastise them with chastisement. There's never chastised any nation before. See, because what they did, because their whole idea is not so much what they did, it's how they did it. But more than that, is what the end game was. Endgame was it totally destroyed. I mean, they destroyed us in every kind of way possible, right? But in the very end, they was going to reduce us as I showed you in the other video, reduce us to shit. You know, just get rid of us totally. But they're going to take and humiliate us. They humiliate. I mean, you think they've done humiliate already? They still got a few more, chips up their sleeves. So that's why I said this is going to happen to them. I will feed and oppress them with their own flesh. It's going to be so bad in this country in a few days. They're going to be eating their own flesh. They'll be their own people. I'll tell you that in the scriptures. They will eat their own children. Some of them eat their children for to eat their own dogs. They eat their dogs too. Some of them eat their own children for to eat their own dogs. That's how sick these people are. They shall be drunken with their own blood. Drink their own blood. See? As with sweet wine. See? That's how bad it's going to be. A drought. Drinking blood. See? Famine. They're going to eat them. That's all this. And plus the war that they're going to be up against. Until that time is over. And this stuff coming like a heartbeat. Like a heart attack. And all flesh shall know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior, thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Remember, we have Jacob. Jacob from Isaac. The mighty one of Jacob. Who is that? That's Timothy's rod. That's the vengeance. What they've done. They should have submitted, they didn't. And this includes the demons, Farrakhan's boys. See, they don't get the same thing. Remember when he was called out, and Joshua called him out? Please don't make me leave the country. I want to go back to my devil. I want to go with my swine daddies. Remember they got to fight and they run up the cliff together? That means they're going to suffer the same thing. So all these scripties out there, and all you demons out there, well, demons, we ain't care about you. But you scripties out there, you want to hold on to that crap? You want to be by the gym? You're going to get what they get. See? And you're getting a taste of it already. You have their wearing masks and carrying on. See? If you was for real, you wouldn't be doing that. Scriptures tell you it's not going to hurt us. Even over in Africa, and a lot of those over there are still jinn, but they got our basic DNA, and it's hardly affecting them at all. Some places in Africa, some countries haven't touched it at all, but it's touching the whole world. So it will pass over us and get them. Firstborn, that means the most elderly. I make all things new. That's the promise. See? Now, see here? That's what it's talking about. That's the new Jerusalem. See? Now, what did happen there? Now, I know, brothers and sisters, let me correct this. Let me correct this. I mean, this is, oh, hold on, brothers and sisters. I love how they get into my computer, do things. It's always amazing. I'm just totally out of it. Oh boy. I want to get this right. I don't know how that happened. Okay, I see what happened here. Okay, brothers and sisters. New Jerusalem. I make all things new. For the first heaven and first earth went off. Now you get fire coming the clouds. Say, oh, earth, no, the earth's not going to be destroyed. Earth represents the European nations, right? See? And sea is not yet. Now, if you notice, the sea represents Oriental nations. But you notice in New Jerusalem, they're not there. None of them are there. I've talked about that in the past, and I'll go to it now. There's a reason why, because that's called death. And that's a whole nother subject, topic to get to that with a lot of detail. See? So anyway, none of them are there. See? But anyway, and this is so well, I see what happened here. I see what happened here, bro. So I'm gonna get this right. Excuse me for a second. Still not right here. Now I think I have it right. Okay, there you go. That's what you see there is the ark. Remember, it's 9 in the ark, floating on the waters. But now, the New Jerusalem, the waters, right? That becomes, the waters were are the sea, but that becomes the new earth. Because the old earth also passed away. That becomes new earth. Okay? I'll say this. There's another hint. I'm not going into detail here. But you see Levites there. Remember that's a Sunni. We see new earth, that's Sunni. And I'll talk about that. I think I've talked about it in the past, but I'll talk about it a little more. Once we leave here, brothers and sisters, right? Because the Shia is not coming here. We say, seed of Abraham, that's us. Those are the ones in Lamb's Book of Life, the Tree of Life. Okay, we're over there. The Levites will join us over there because they got to go to tribulation here. They join us over there. And they will be part of the army, right? Because that's why you see them in the army to get the part of the army, right? That Joshua will lead to take control of the promised land. That's called Saudi Arabia. See, because Pharaoh is going to take out the authorities. He's going to take out the dragon, which is House of Saud, take out false Israel, America, Britain. They're going to be knocked out of there. But the people still be there. And that's what said Joshua had to lead an army to clean them out, because they're not going to those Sunnis, they think that's their land. They ain't going to give it up. They're fighting with the false Israel over there, who claims the land. They don't give it up. So we have to go to war with them, have to subdue them. They be pushed out of there. They pushed them to the place we call Afghanistan, all those areas. We pushed them there. That'll be the new earth. Those that survive it. Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Oh, let me say one more thing. See, I talked about this, right? See, Farad represents, right, the new analytical mind, right? It's highly technical. See how technical he is? He got those technical marvel. Because he's a technical genius. He put a technical marvel in. And I can't do that because I'm spatial. But the angel is designed, the only spatial mind could break those seals. Farad couldn't do it, Elijah couldn't do it. No, I'm the only one who could do that. So now you got the spatial and the analytical together. See here? They're together. See? And then the one, I remember I told you they're like the architects or whatever, right? See, they're the ones, the bridge between the analytical and the spatial. See, to translate because they need a bridge, spatial, analytical, the technical need a bridge, somebody to write through the blueprints and everything after they understand what the creativity of the spatial. Spatial comes with the ideas, right? But it has to be translated in a form that technical can understand so they can bring it into existence. Be and it is. There's an and between there. Be and it is. What's the and? Be and it is. Somebody has to translate it to the technical so they can make it is. Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Okay, that's it. Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. We're at war right now. It's not kinetic yet. It's about to get there. But we are at war. We're at a biological war, mechanical war. The war is between, right, mechanical mind and the biological mind, and the mind that's ambidextrous that preceded that, the way we were before. See? Before Dr. Shabazz came along, before Dr. Yakub came along. See? So what was before that? Those people around. Like I said, you look at Somalis and Ethiopians, they didn't go through that process. They're the old man from that previous creation. See, it's like when the women, male and female came along, what happened to the gentlest people? Did they resist? We'll talk about that. See, they're not around anymore. So obviously, we moved on. We don't see those people around anymore, gentlest people. There's signs of it. Every now and then, someone's born just like that. They call them hermaphrodites. See? But they don't survive because they're out of time. See? So this is a new creation. All things new. We moved on. See? So we bring in a new creation. And they resist. They're the old man with the new. But the analytical mind resistant. He will not submit. They're rebellious by nature. So we can't take them. So we have to take and make and take and bring. We have to have a technical mind. So like I said, so we took and put our seed into the technical bodies and analytical bodies. So we have a technical being, right? And not as technical, not as technical, right, as Yakub's creation, because the whole brain is technical, almost all of it. See, instead of 99%, 80%, but it's enough because they have space, 20% space enough to keep it under control. That's a shear. That's fried shear. See? So we still get it's good enough for us. So now we have harmony. We would have preferred if Dr. Yakub's creation is submitted. But that didn't happen. It's not going to happen. So we're not even discussing that anymore. It's not even, like I said, we decided in the lessons just get rid of that mess. Because they're rebellious by nature. See, they're not going to submit to us. We've been fighting with them for 400 years here in America, battling out with them. Been us, Dr. Yakub, and Dr. Shabazz. We're battling out here in America for 400 years. And we haven't been able to get them under control. See? But they keep using us to get their vision. And then they're going to get rid of us to achieve their vision, the mechanical evolution, the cyborg. See? We don't want that type of world. We want to keep a biological world. We don't have technical. It's going to be technical. Our technician, Farad, the brightest ever. See? And this year, again, they're not as bright as technically. She said, well, how come they? Well, the point is that if they had this, at that specification, they could make the world that specification. But they have to get that creativity from us. You see? Frog got that creativity from his father. He went and got those wisdom from all the scientists. See? So that fueled his creativity. But he kept them from that. If you read the lessons, what happened? When he took and made the wheel, right? He took technicians from all over, from the European world, all over the world, primarily from the European world. He had to get them because they that's the technicians. But then afterwards, he killed all of them, every one of them. So they wouldn't take that knowledge back to their people, their creative knowledge, because they see that. But that's what he used to build the wood. He had to use them because they're highly technical, but they don't have the creative knowledge to do it. And you have the creative knowledge, you just don't know it yet because they got you running the analytical mind. I'm trying to get you. I'm not just trying. I'm going to make it happen. You're going to upgrade that spatial mind. When you do, then you have the knowledge how to do. You have the creative knowledge how to do it yourself. You see. So that knowledge is protected. And right now, you are, those of you out there, whether you know it or not, right? You're uploading the angel a little bit at a time. You may not be constantly doing it, but every time you're in things you've never heard before. And you can't dismiss them. You know, I mean, I don't believe that, but you may say that, but you can't dismiss it in your brain, because the only way you can dismiss your brain, you have to prove. So you have to prove in your own mind that it's wrong, and you can't do that. So you dismiss it and be hard-headed and stubborn, and don't pay attention, but it's still in your memory. And that means it's taking up part of your brain. See? It's taking up, memory is taking up space. Taking up part of your brain. So it's still there. And it's still affecting you. So brothers and sisters, don't hesitate to talk to your brothers and sisters about it, because it's affecting them. They're uploading. Some slower than others. Some unwillingly, right? But it's still uploading. And pretty soon, when the four winds blow, that installation is going to happen very fast. But they're uploading. So you tell, because that's the thinking process. When someone tells you something, it doesn't matter if you say you believe it or not, right? It's still on your mind. And it will stay there until you can prove it's not true. So that means it's still sitting there. And you will not be able to prove it's not true. So that means it's going to stay in your mind. So it's affecting your mind. And the more you try to prove it's not true, the more you're going to come around. Because once you get into the process of trying to prove it's not true, that's going to make you get more interested in it. And I'll give you, there's this what's this group called, I forgot they call there's a religious group out there, I can't think of the name of it right now. Right? Herbert Armstrong started. I forgot the name of it. But if you read what he was saying about it, he said the reason why he got into it, because someone told him something about the Bible, so he went to the Bible to prove what they were saying was false, and in the process he got converted. Because the process trying to prove, he could prove it as false, so he had to accept it, and then he started an organization. You see, that's the story. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, you tell people that, it's on their mind. Only way to dismiss, they have to prove it's not true. If they start trying to prove it's not true, that means now they're in your ball game, right? They're in your part. Because now they're studying. They got to study to prove it's not true. So that's what you got to be studying now, right? So if they don't, they said they'd be hard-headed, but it's still in their mind. See? Every time they get hit with it, it grows more and more. So eventually, you must take up more and more of that space. They better do something with it. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.